So my next step is I need to clean this channel out again. Back the old red square body, old Pappy the pig, and let me show you what it is. Nothing's really changed since the last time you guys saw it. Let me quick reminder. So there's the powerhouse, the 4 point whatever liter 292 inline 6-cylinder, referred to as a stump puller. I don't know. Oh, there it is, 4.8 liter. It's a 1982, still right there on the breather housing. Look at that, isn't that cool? Anyway, you can see my not so smart fuel source because the fuel tank is still currently out of it. My temporary battery. Let me walk around this thing and show you a little bit of what's going on. So like I said, not much has changed. Got some air in the tires. They're dry rotted to beat all. It's amazing they hold air at all. As you may remember, there's a rust spot there. You can see the mold and stuff that's growing on it from where it sat. A ding from who knows when the last person owned it. Yeah, overall it's in really good shape. You got another rust spot kind of poking through there, but the bedside's pretty straight. Got a cab corner issue. There's the door that I spent all that extra time on. Trying to get it back to something better than it was. And let me show you the inside. Alright, so here's the patch on the driver's side that we did. Remember, I cut a huge section out here, recreated this channel, this water channel here. I had to cut up this way and recreate all this. You can still kind of see my seam welds a little bit. Didn't figure it was going to matter. I did find me some door glass, so I'm excited about that. As you can kind of see through the weeds, the door glass actually came with a whole nother truck, so that's a win for me. I'll show you more on that later. This is a 4-speed with granny gear. Let me show you what's going on the passenger side as far as the body work that I got to do over there to make this better. Alrighty. So my next step is I need to clean this channel out again. You can see the rot all the way up into that corner, but it's not near as far gone as the other side. So I'm going to get it all swept out. This, I don't know, I'm going to run a wire wheel over it. I'm going to see how thin this actually is. I really don't want to have to cut that far back on it. At the very least right now, we're looking at cutting this much. I have to clean this out, which is that cab support channel. I'll need to patch that hole and do some work, you know, up in there. Do some more work there. But it should be a lot easier than the other side. Alright, I have plans to at least refinish this door panel. I'm going to try to refinish the other door panel. At least they're not going to be perfect, but they'll be better. And I'm going to do some research. I think I have a plan for this dash pad if I can get it to hold together long enough for me to do the repair. If I can get it out, I don't know. I've never done that before, so that'll be new, but I have some plans. You guys have any suggestions on the best route to make repairs to that? Things you've tried that's worked out, that holds up decent with UV light? Throw it in down in the comments. I enjoy reading. Alright, so we're just going to get in here and go ahead and start wire wheeling. Oh, there's a screw there. We're going to go ahead and get in here and start wire wheeling this thing so we can see what we got underneath. After all that stuff's loosened up, I'll go back and start scraping out that channel and we'll try to get a good assessment or evaluation of how much of this we're going to have to remove. So let's get in there and do the dirty work, right? All right, here we go. All right. Phew. There we are. Let me get this stuff off. All right, let me get you in here and show you what's going on. This is why it's important to wire brush everything that you can. So we do have some pitting here, but structurally I think we're fine. I can just do some filler and make it better. Although we had some holes open up here, so I'll have to do at least a small patch here. I'm going to have to probably get underneath this lip to address any corrosion that's going on there so it doesn't continue to get worse. Which, man, I really hate to, because it is sealed down, but it's preventative. Looks like we revealed a hole here, so this will get patched. I may just cut all the way up to here. I don't know how far over I'll come, and then right back through here, and I think that'll take care of a big portion, although I got to recreate this lip, and then I got to recreate this one, and as expected, some more holes through here, so I may make another patch strip here to tie it all in, and that's where we are. I'll also do something here. I'll make some sort of patch that goes in there. This one's in a lot better shape than the other one was. But that's where we're at. That's the plan for now. I think I need to get in here and kind of dig some of this stuff out. All that debris and dirt and stuff gets in there and it just gets wet. It just stays. Good news is it seems pretty solid back to here, so I only got to create from here to here on this section. I think that'll be fairly easy, but this lip will be a little bit of a challenge. And then I got to get all that junk out of there. I'll probably do that after I make that cut. So I think I'm going to use some masking tape. I'm going to mark it where I'm going to cut it off at. All right, so this is what I was talking about. So I'll cut below my tape line here. All this is going to get cut out all the way up through there, up the kick panel or whatever it is, the toe plate, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm going to cut this little section out here and replace it. And I think I'm going to cut me a little square or rectangle, if you will, out here and fix that. And I think that's all I'm going to do as far as the floor repair on this side. Like I said, I'll make an L channel section that'll recreate a lot of this, but it'll be a little bit of a challenge. I'll have to puzzle it in. Like, this will probably be like one whole piece right through here, and then this piece will tie in probably here. That way it makes it easier to create this lip. And then up through here, I'll just make like an L bracket, and I'll hammer it to fit so it sits back down in there. And once that's all done, then I'll just seam seal it and we'll call it good. All right, got my safety spectacles on. Let's get to cutting. Alright, that's a big part of it. Gonna have to change the wheel direction around. Probably change the wheel. It's getting a little too small with the guard in the way. Let's see if we can make that work better with a new one. There might have to be some sacrificial spots that I'll have to weld back up in order to make some other cuts, but that's just the way it goes. Alright, I got a little spot right up here that I'm going to have to figure out how to cut it. It's about a ½ inch long. This, for the most part, it's about ready to come out. There's a section here where it's spot welded to this structure. I'll probably have to make a cut in front of it, behind it, and then I'll have to dig those tacks out and remove that last little section. There's no reason for me to sit here and try to fight it. It's just going to be a mess. I won't be able to save that part. So, but I need this cutout section for my template. Come on, little bird. Alright, see, now I have a little bit of a template I can use. Oh, looks like we're going to be able to cheat it. Come on, break. Alright, there's another little section for a template. I just got to remember to include that. We're going to cut out some of this channel section here because it needs to be gone. And then I need to cut this little red square back here, and I'll reposition so you guys can see that. But first, let me get this section out. See what I mean? Sometimes you got to make some sacrificial cuts. That little lip, that's not too hard to recreate. And the fact that it's going to be under a door seal means as long as it's holding, nobody's going to see it, nobody's going to care, and it's going to do its job. All right, next little piece. This little square right here. Alright, so it's I don't have a lot of room in here for a big disc, so I'm going to switch back to the other disc. Hopefully it'll have a small enough diameter to allow me to make that cut without digging in here any more than what I already have. Alright, that's going to be too sharp. That did it. And we just, oh, I can't even reach it. Oh, can't reach it. Now, I could have probably cut a little less, but I wasn't really sure how thick it was elsewhere. I could have fought it and tried to do a whole bunch of weld build up, but that would have caused a lot of unnecessary shrinkage. Yes, nobody would have seen it, but it just, I've tried to do repairs like that, and it's really tough to do it right. So I think that was the best plan of action. Now we have templates. And fillettes. When you're taking on a project and you want to get somewhere and you're limited on time, I get it. I completely understand it. It becomes daunting. It becomes difficult. And you think, well, if I can't put more than an hour in it, there's no reason for me even to drag my tools out. Well, if you have the luxury of leaving your tools out, if you can stand it, some people can't, and it's coming right back where you left off, then you're saving time on the next day. But however you go about it, what I like to do is one small little project at a time. I set small goals. And as I complete those goals, anything beyond that, even if it's just prep work for the next time I get to work on it, then I'm ahead. Now, since I work outside, for most of my projects, because my little bitty garage is full of stuff, yes, I have to put the tools up. And yes, I have to drag the tools out. And that does take time. But I try to plan ahead. So if I can find 5 minutes during the day, I will be thinking about what I can possibly get done when I get home. And I understand life gets in the way, things get tough. But the only way that project's going to move along, that you keep staring at in the garage or out in the barn, is you're just going to have to get out there and do it. One little piece at a time. And make it work. Set yourself small goals. And you'll get there, I promise you. And a piece of sheet metal. So this is about all I've got left over of the material that I purchased to repair these floors with. So let's try to use as much of it as we possibly can. Let's see. So this piece, I'm obviously not going to be able to get full length and be able to use it all in one piece. But like I said earlier, we're going to have to puzzle some of this stuff in. And that'll make working it a little easier. Yes, it's going to add some extra seams, but that's just part of it. It's just going to be part of it. Alright, so we know this piece is going to be a lot longer, but if we can get, so here's where that support was, that cap support that's underneath. I have to get that measurement. That would be a good point, good stopping point. So going from here to here, moving this section here, makes it a lot easier to refabricate this lip. From here back, it will be pretty easy because it only has to be an L shape to recreate the channel and then tie back in where I cut this piece. Here, you can see that. This edge here needs to be not a hard corner, but like a rolled corner. So we'll have to get creative and find a way to do that with some scrap material laying around, maybe a board. We'll just have to see. This one should be pretty easy. I should be able to take it right out of one of these sections here. Let me show you. So you have it on. So, like this section here, perfect donor for a piece like this. This is part of that toe plate. So this actually goes on the other side right here. Possibly see. being that that space there was where that support was. Right here's the curve of the toe plate. It starts to transition up. That little bit should be pretty easy to make. This we'll have to make a little bit wider so that it has room to make it all the way to the kick panel. And it's better to be a little big on a couple of sides than too small. Then you're just trying to fill gaps. And you can trim stuff out when you get things, excuse me, you can start trimming things after you start fitting. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get to that. So just a little trick that's worked out well for me. This, however, is just the extension of this. So somewhere in there, basically, that connected, and that's part of that channel. So that's why I want to do this section and this piece separate. But let me sand some of this overspray off from previous projects, and then we will get to laying some of these pieces out. As I thought. So this, what's left of it, is part of the top side of that rocker panel that I had to cut out. So we'll need to recreate this as well. So let's see, I said 2 3/4, right? Right? Yeah. Alright, so 2 3/4 to the bend, or the break, the bend, the break, the bend, the bend, the break, the break, the bend, whatever you want to call it. And then, there's not much of anything left here for the original lip. So, I am going to take a guess and go 1 inch. Because I'm not going to try to create a double lip here. I think it's going to be too much of a challenge with the minimal tooling that I've got. Unless I change my mind. I'm thinking I'll just, maybe, I don't know. It just gets complicated when you got to do a double break. But if I do this one, and then come back in with another one, you know what? I don't know. This is not a how-to. This is not an instructional video. I do not claim to know what I am doing. So I may tell you I'm going to do it one way, and then I'm going to turn around and do it another way because I think it'd be easier. So anyway, 2 3/4 across to that break. From there down at least 1 inch, and I may go ahead and measure for that lip to make that final connection because I just may. But let me get set up. I'll get things marked out and I'll show you. All right, that's what we got done. Excuse me. Laid out this section, which I told you I'd probably separate this out. If it gets in the way, I will. It won't be that big of a deal. I can just cut right here. This was not the straightest cut edge from the last time I did cut material out of it, so I'll have to trim this to make it better. But I've got all these little pieces. Here's the toe plate section. This is going to have a lip that folds down and ties into the kick panel. I accounted for that space between these two pieces. As you can see here, I went out and measured it. There's like 4 inches that's supposed to go in between where that structural support is. So I think we've got that covered. Here is the top of the rocker panel. That's going to go like that, and then you can see the lip on the back side. So we'll recreate that. What I'm referring to as the random rectangle, which is that one isolated area where it had the holes. And I'm not going to worry about that piece just yet, or from here up. I think I'll get these pieces all made up, get them all tacked into place, and then I'll see where I end up for that last little piece. But that is the plan for now. Working on the Chevy square body once again. I've only got a couple hours of daylight, as you guys know the story. So let's get things set up, and maybe we can get some floor pieces in it tonight. I got to do some cleaning. There's a small piece of metal that I need to remove, and I got to do some more prep work. But it shouldn't take too long. I'm going to get on it pretty quick right now, and then maybe we can start tacking some new pieces in. So stay with me. All right, so inside this channel, it's pretty bad. There's a convenient hole here, so I'm going to utilize it. Ouch. Oh, I'm going to need a tetanus shot after that. I have to get an air gun in there to move some of that stuff. So I'll have to do some patching here, that inner rocker panel. I'll have to reconstruct a little bit of this. I've still got to remove these pieces. I'm trying to clean this up a little bit more. And then we'll get in there and try to clean it all out. Get all the loose stuff out. Probably have to make some more pieces and kind of fill all that stuff in. But that's where we're at. Let me get back at it, and I'll show you after I get it cleaned up. All right, we're back. I got all the loose stuff cleaned out. Tried to get anything that was up inside this channel back here where I could get it out. Cleaned out the inside of the rocker the best that I could. Removed some more like heavy scale. Here's the plan. So I'm going to cut another section of this. Actually, I'm going to cut a section of this inner rocker because there's so many layers in there. It's just going to, there's no way I can treat it. So it's just going to continue to get worse. So I'm going to basically cut from here down a little bit and across to eliminate most of this. I'm going to separate here from the channel. I think that's the last little bit. Well, no, I guess it's hanging on back here. But I'm going to separate that there. I'm going to treat all that with some paint. And I'm going to make me a new piece of the inner rocker that will probably just lap over the remainder. Of course, I'm going to wire wheel it. And I'm going to wire wheel it, paint it. Then I'll make me a piece to patch over that. And I'll stuff it up in between this, up in this pocket here. I don't know how far up I'm going to bring it yet, because I'm not. Basically, I just need to close this inner rocker off, or this rocker off. I don't want to catch a whole lot of debris in there, so I need to close that off. So that's the goal, to seal all that up. Once I get this piece made, everything prepped, get it in place, I'm going to do some paint prep down in here to try to slow this down. I'll do some paint prep up in here to kind of slow this down. This is right behind the plastic section of the wheel well, so I can get up in there pretty easy. Let's see, after that, yeah, after this, after I get the floor section in, maybe before, we'll see, but I'll have to get this tied back into the inner rocker. And I'll just make a piece that fits here, and I may make something that will lap down in here, because this is just that plastic piece mostly. You can kind of see it move there. So I'll make a plate that goes on the outside of that channel, and it'll help tie it back in, making that a sound structural connection again. Of course, all this down here I'll wire wheel and wire brush. All this down here I'll wire wheel and wire brush all that and prep it all with paint. So I'll try to get in there and at least wire wheel it before I start putting the floor pieces in, because it creates more restriction. That is where we are at, and that is the plan for now. I'm going to clean the concrete here on the floor real quick, get some of that dust out of the way. I'm going to get underneath there, cut that section out, then I'll get some new sheet metal and figure out what I got to do. That's the next step. Anyway, so I'm going to trim this off here where some of this ugly is and the way the rot did, or the way it rusted out. So I'm going to trim that off so I have a pretty clean line. I should have just enough metal, hopefully, to do this side of the floor, and it'll feel good to get that done. So let me cut this next little section. After that, it's going to be, after I get that last little section cut there, the next step's probably going to be wire wheel. And I'm going to wire wheel everything I can get, and then I'm going to come back and figure out what kind of pieces I need to create to clear that up. So let's cut this last section and wire wheel, and then maybe, just maybe, we can start putting some new metal back in this thing. Ready? Wire wheel time. All right, let's make the dirty work happen here. Let's see. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. All right. So I noticed there's kind of a breather air pocket in here for the rocker panel. So I'm gonna chuck my blow-off tool, air blow-off tool, and I'm going to blow some more crap out of there if there is any more stuff in it. And let's see, I need to, get over here, fellets. So I really need to probably lop some of this off so I can stop it. The other side feels pretty solid. So this dumb thing here, this is for the running boards or step boards that was on it. I had to unbolt it just to load it on the trailer because it wouldn't clear. I need to finish taking them all. Anyway, let's see. Need to make a cut. I don't know. I'd like to just lap this, but I hate to trap that back air when I don't have to. So anyway, I'll come up with a plan. I'll probably lop this out, lop a section of this off, and then I got to go to the top side. I got to thinking about it. Let me see if you guys can see. I'll take you to the top side and show you another area that I need to cut. But once I get all this cut out, and before I put the new pieces in, of course I'm going to wire wheel it like I've already said, and then I'm going to just start put some of that protective coating up in there the best that I can. Yes, it'll create a little bit of a challenge with the welding, but I'd rather have something in there rather than nothing. So that's the plan. All right, let's see. That needs to go. Let's cut across here. I hate to remove all that. Yeah, we'll cut through here, and I'll figure out something. I may cut a little bit more. This here's what I'm talking about. I'll just I don't want to cut too far back. I just want to get enough to get past this junk right here. So probably cut it there. What I'm probably going to do is after I wire wheel all this is I'm just going to lap a piece of metal over it, spot weld it to it, seal it up with a weld, and this will be the last piece that I do. I'll tie this into the new inner rocker section. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do next. So let's get to cutting that channel section there. That piece, that don't want to come off. Oh, there we go, there's a piece. That one's still pretty well attached. As long as I'm careful, I can probably flex it, bend it, get it out of there. Yeah. That needs cut a little bit more. I don't know if I can get it. There we go. That'll work. All right, let me show you what I'm going to cut on the top side, just so we can try to slow down the mess. Hang on a minute. Booga, right. Booga. Wire brush, wire wheel. Let's get what we can get. We'll do the underside now. Really need to be on the other side, but I'll get what I can, then I'll flop sides, because all the debris is going to come at me. Alrighty, that's much gooder. We'll blow everything off, hit it with some paint, and make a couple pieces. That's what we're going to do next. So, as you can tell, this work, it's not pleasant work. This is the ugliest, hardest part about doing this type of work, is having to get in here and get rid of as much junk as you can, and figuring out how much of it to take out and how much of it to replace without going too far overboard, but also not making all your work in vain. So for your at-home guy, my opinion, this is good enough. Alright, enough yakking. Let's get to doing some paint. We gotta let that dry, and then I'll start marking some material out to fix this. Alright, we're going to try to make this as simple as possible. I need to go at least all the way to there. Hang on, I might switch hands. Alright, so from there to where I cut it off, looks like about 8 inches, so I'll go a little bit longer to leave myself some room to work with. And this kind of does some weird curvature stuff on this channel here. Alright, so we'll say 8 1/4 by something else. We'll go, I don't know, let me think about how this one's going to be done. Close. The angle's not quite there. So what I can do is set it up on the edge like this. Set it on something, rotate it a little bit so that this point and this point are almost in a straight line to each other, and then I can walk that a little further. It's okay if I go too far because I can hammer it back. Alright, that's how that'll work. So this will be on top of that kick panel. As I'm fitting it, I'll have to put a slight, I think I have to put a slight curve in it. But we'll look at that when I get to it. Alright, I gotta get set up on the other piece. Be right back. Alright, so there's my brake line. I know this has to fold this way because of the notes I put on it. Yeah, so I'm going to try to force this over by hand since I don't have an actual brake press. We will see how this works, if at all. Oh, brute force. This is my setup. I needed something narrow to fit in to that lip, sandwich it down. I expect everything to pop loose and fall off there, but we're gonna try it anyway. We ain't got nothing to lose. It's either gonna work or it's not. We'll just try to hold it here and walk down through there. Well, I should be able to take this off, do some final finessing here. See what we end up with. Happy with that. That's just of aluminum tube. It just happened to be about the right size. Work. And I've got the pieces all cut. I'll still have to trim them to get into place. Right now I'm trying to do some prep work. Try to get some paint on the areas that I'm not going to be able to access once this stuff's tacked in. So I'm roughing it up as we speak. I'll be roughing it up, getting it ready for paint. Get some paint on it, let that dry enough that I can handle it some, and then we'll start working it into place. Daylight permitting. If not, we'll definitely get back on it tomorrow morning. All right. Trying to get this piece tacked in. Already got it started. We'll just continue to try to work it in there and trim as needed. Oops. Darn it. Went a little too far. Come on now, get back through there. There we go. Do. Oh, I can get down here. Got a little too much curve in one spot. We are going to go ahead, start welding this piece in. While I'm waiting on the paint to dry enough, I can handle the others. So let's do that. At least we're getting something done. Trick is try not to get it too hot like I'm doing on your usual body panels. And you can sand stuff as you go, grind some of it down, but I'm just going to put it all on there and then I'm just going to hit it hard and get it good enough. Alright, I think I got it. Oh, one more spot. Now I think I got it. Now I'll go see what the other pieces look like, see if they're dry enough. Alright, new day, this is where we're at. Got that piece there tacked into place, got that piece tacked into place, got the inner rocker section tacked into place. I'm going to go ahead and add or make these structural pieces here. It'll be easier to weld that stuff on. Well, I guess either way I'm doing it from underneath, so it won't matter. I'll just continue on. I think I'm going to go ahead and what we're going to do is go ahead and modify this piece because it has to go over this structural support and it curves up and across. So I've got to figure out where that's at and make that happen. Once that's in there, then I can fit this piece right here in. So I got to modify it down here where that double break is. That's what we're going to do next. Let me show you what we've got going on. I got another piece fit in. I got one more piece I need to make. Once it's made, trimmed, and fit in there, I believe the only thing that is left is lots and lots of welding and some grinding to make it better. And then I got to go underneath and do the same thing. I'll probably go ahead and wire wheel everything I can wire wheel so I can get paint on it. Seems like it's going to be just warm enough today to make that happen. And then the top side, we'll have to see where we end up. I might be able to get it roughed up enough to get some paint on it. We'll just have to see how it goes. The day's clicking by pretty quick, but let me show you what's happening. Now, don't beat up on me too bad. That's not the best fit right there, but it's working. I had to have this channel right here kind of scoop up and across that support. That's the way it originally was. That's the way it is on the other side. I got some gaps to fill in, but it's welding. I can make it happen. Just spot, spot, spot type of thing. Here's the next piece I got to make. I'm going to make an L bracket. I'm going to make it long. I'm going to make the legs long enough that it will lap underneath, and I'll be able to spot weld it underneath this, and then I'll mark it and I'll trim it off so I have a good butt weld right along through here. That way I can sand that off and it'll look mostly normal. And then let's see, I think that'll be it. I mean, I still got to weld that piece in right there. I got this welded in last night. I know it's not pretty, but it'll grind up and clean up pretty good. And I'm gonna go ahead and start looking at getting some stuff to repair or refurbish this door panel. I got some ideas on the dash. I may price the new dash pad, but I'm gonna see if I can save this one. And I think we'll just figure out something for the seat. I do have a seat for it. It's got the normal big hole in the driver's side, and we'll eventually move that rubber pad there. But anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get this piece made. It goes right there, and get it all fit in, and then we can get the welding and get the ugly stuff taken care of today. L brackets laid out. That'll fill in that one spot. Unfortunately, the last of my plain sheet steel that's it. This is what I've got left. So this is only 11 inches. I need exactly 12 inches, so I had to make me a 1-inch piece that I will have to attach to that after I break them. And anyway, we'll make it work. So I'm going to grab the grinder and start cutting this up. All right, we just got some tacks in here. I think I'm going to add another one. Maybe one here on the end. And then what we'll do is we'll come back and get that out of there. Start gently massaging it on the top side, maybe a little here on the bottom. And we'll just start working it into place. This hard corner right here, I'm going to have to try to reshape it with a hammer as I'm tacking to try to get it to take back its, more of a natural state of finish. And I think that's going to be it. As far as that, once I get this put in place, then I got another spot, right? Let me turn you around. Right there, structural support. We got to fix this and here, and then of course weld all that stuff in. So that's where we're at, and that's what we're going to do. See if we can massage this corner a little bit. Yeah, tub, I'm gonna have to put a tack on it first. Not gonna hold. Alright, now let's try it. Oop. I need to swing, I can't. Too much mud, dirt in my eyes. Too much dirt, mud in my eyes. Alright, let's go to the top side now. Alright, next step is I'm going to trim the original floor to match the piece that I made. It's going to be easier to do it that way, plus it's going to raise the weld seam up higher, making it easier for me to weld and do some prep work. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about by cutting the fit. It gives you a pretty decent gap, almost too much sometimes if you're not careful. But that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to attempt to do it one-handed and not screw it up. Well, I'm going to screw it up. I got to change wheels. That one's not big enough. All right. Alright, let's see. Get that pried out of there. Where'd the screwdriver go? Alright. See if I can get that thing pushed up out of there. There we go. Get B. We're just gonna get this up out of here enough we can get it out of the way. Probably hot. Let me put my glove on. I need to get in there and cut that. I don't know a good way to do it other than maybe from underneath. Hang on a minute. I don't know if you saw that, but that did it. Although it created a big gap. So, more work. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna have to massage that over, but it looks like it's gonna be really close. Yeah, I think I can make that work. Alright, let me get that tacked into place and I'll show you when I'm done. That piece tacked in there. It's not great, but you can see it's not terrible. In some spots it seem a little wider than the rest. Specifically there. You can drive a bus through it, but we'll get it welded up. This corner here, I'm gonna have to do some zap and fill, but it is in there. The rest of that channel, we'll get some silicone or body sealer, which is what was originally in there, and I'll seal all that up. Of course, I'll hit it all with paint. We are making progress. I think it's time to start. I think it's time to start welding. Let's see what we can get done. All right, now it's just a matter of getting in here, getting as comfortable as you can. Make sure your machine is set up the way you want it. Keep in mind that you may have to finesse some areas, add some tacks before you get too carried away, but it's all part of it. So I'm just going to walk my way down one side, putting tacks in the middle, in between two tacks in the middle of each one of those tacks, work my way around, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the same thing, and eventually I'll get all the dots connected. And there's just lots and lots of that. So let me put you on time lapse so I don't bore you to death. All right, so I'm not going to bore you with the rest. I've only got about 455,000 more of these little tacks to do. When I finally get it all welded up, or at least where I think I have it all welded up, then I'll bring you guys back and I will start in on the grinding of the tacks, and we'll pick up from there. I'm sure I'll still have some small holes to fill in, but that's all part of it. And stay tuned, I'll show you the results. All right, it's not pretty, but it's in there. I'll probably have to do some more touch up. Oh, yep, I see a hole. I'll hit that. I'm going to grab the grinder and a whole lot of grinding wheels, and I'm going to get started on the hard part. Trying to make it look better. Coarse grinding first. That'll work for now, and I'm going to come back. See, I used one of these. Just a hard stone 1/4 inch thick. I'm a big grinder, being as careful as I could. And I'm going to come back, because these don't last as long. These little tiger paws or flapper wheels, or whatever you want to call it. We're going to finesse it in a little bit better with this. And we're going to go back, check for holes. I see some spots where I need to weld from underneath that I can't get to from the top. But we are making progress. The rest I'll doctor up with some filler and some seam sealer and some paint, and it'll be good. Got all the weld ground down. I got a few holes I need to fill in here. The rest I'm going to doctor up with a little bit of Bondo to smooth out the edges. Same thing here. There's a seam right there that I'm going to have to weld that from the bottom side. It'll be a lot easier. But it's mostly polished up and polished in. Nothing that a little filler won't smooth out. But it's looking about as good as I'm going to make it. So that's what I'm going with. That spot's mostly dressed up. Pretty happy with it so far. I'll have to go over it with a wire wheel. Clean some more of that loose rust off. There's a couple spots I'm going to have to hit a little closer. But it is possible that I might get, I'm hoping to get at least a coat of paint on this thing. Keep it from rusting anymore. Got all the weld ground down. I got a few holes I need to fill in here. The rest I'm going to doctor up with a little bit of Bondo to smooth out the edges. Same thing here. There's a seam right there that I'm going to have to weld that from the bottom side. It'll be a lot easier. But it's mostly polished up and polished in. Nothing that a little filler won't smooth out. But it's looking about as good as I'm going to make it. So that's what I'm going with. That spot's mostly dressed up. Pretty happy with it so far. I'll have to go over it with a wire wheel. Clean some more of that loose rust off. There's a couple spots I'm going to have to hit a little closer. But it is possible that I might get, I'm hoping to get at least a coat of paint on this thing. keep it from rusting anymore. All right, I know you can't see great, but hit it with some black, make it look a little better, a little more new. Keeps the rust down. Notice I got a couple holes right there. Guess I'll have to patch those now. Didn't see it till I hit it with the paint. Went ahead and hit the inside with some paint. Keep the rust to a minimum till I can get the Bondo on it. Maybe that's not the way you're supposed to do it. That's the way I'm going to do it. And it'll be good enough. So, but we are making progress. Maybe before too long, we'll have this thing mobile and get to cruise it around a little bit. Once the floors are done, I'm going to start in on some of the interior. I believe what I'm going to do is just refurbish the door panels, see if I can salvage the dash pad, just for the sake of doing it. I know the carburetor needs rebuilt, and at least that stuff needs done. But first step is getting it, making the floor sound. Oh, I still have those pieces I have to make for underneath for that structural support. And I got to put some more tacks underneath. I'm going to drill some holes for some spot welds to tie in. Let's see if I can show you. Tie in where this connects underneath here, just to get a better weld in there. But we're definitely making progress. So hang in there, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video up to this point.